hype about living the dream? It's time for truth. This is the place for tools, power, and real talk so you can create the life you dream and deserve. Your ultimate life. Subscribe, share, create. You have infinite power.
Hello and welcome to Your Ultimate Life. I hope you're watching the video. I've got this vibrant background. It looks like a guy not wrestling but interacting with a flaming phoenix. Could be a flaming eagle. I think the AI prompt I used was the phoenix because that means so much to me. I don't know. Have I ever explained why I love the phoenix? Now, you know the legend of the phoenix. I just happened to see a little piece of the second Harry Potter movie, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And at some point in that movie, I think it's that movie. It was on the other day, and Veronica, our Ukrainian girl here, who's 9.5, was watching it. And anyway, Harry Potter's in Dumbledore's office, and there's a phoenix, fox, F-A-W-K-E-S. And suddenly it bursts into flames, and then there's the ashes, and Dumbledore walks in between, and Harry Potter's, jumps, and maybe he isn't supposed to be there. I don't know. In second year, he's like 12, so he's a kid, and the bird burst into flames, and Dumbledore, in his wise old manner, looks at him. Yes, the phoenix is a remarkable bird, It gets old. It's kind of overdue for that. Bursts into flames, and then Dumbledore points at the pile of ashes, and then is reborn from the ashes, and right then, the little new phoenix bird raises its head from the ashes. And I use that symbol because it is so descriptive of my life journey. And having crashed and burned and burst into flames and completely destroyed my life and things many times, and needing to start over many times. Sometimes financially, bankruptcy, sometimes losing jobs, ruining or failing relationships, just over and over, all kinds of things. And the final time for that rebirth, complete, total rebirth is always every day, right? But the last time was in 2007. And so for the last 17 years, I have been on a cycle of continuous and intentional and very, very rigorous growth. And the rigor is by my own choice. Like, nobody says you have to be rigorous and diligent and hardworking. That's just something I choose to do, not out of obligation, but because I want to. And that might seem weird because, I don't know, lots of folks, the idea is for everything to be perfect so you can take it easy, and I'm just not that way. I love to create. I live in a state of flow where love and truth flow through me, creating books and songs and other works of meaning and value to help you choose your purpose, develop your gifts, and serve joyfully with all your being. See, that's my chosen purpose. My chosen purpose is to create songs, books, videos, podcasts, speeches, invitations, participation, love, interactions that are designed as best I can, and I'm not pretending they're foolproof or even the right thing for you or any other particular person, but to help you choose your purpose and develop your amazing and divine gifts and serve joyfully with all your being. Now, why would I choose that? Well, first of all, it's my ultimate life. I live in purpose, prosperity, and joy. Purpose, that is my driving purpose. I wake up to it every day and I love it. Prosperity means cash. It means wealth of relationships and fun. It means all those things. Prosperity of health, even though I, have all this mortal struggles that we have in our different flavors. So I live that ultimate life. And I'm married to joy, which you know. But I experience joy in my life all the time. So what has that got to do with this particular episode? Because some or much of that you've heard. That was an explanation of why I use the phoenix. It's a symbol of bursting into flames, burning it down, and then having a rebirth to grow to infinity. And I've done the burning down many times, and the growth has never gone on the right upward spiral to go to infinity. And I think I'm on that road now. But anyway, so that's why I use the Phoenix, and that's why I love the legend. And one of the interesting things that Dumbledore then says about the Phoenix is that they are capable of carrying enormous weight. And I didn't know that about the Phoenix until that was in the Harry Potter thing. And it shows up later because the bird's carrying a heavy sword, which would be, 6 or 7 times its body weight, or 10 times. I don't know how heavy the sword of Gryffindor was. And that the Phoenix tears have healing power. And those two things fit right in with the work that I do as the ultimate alchemist. And so I take this work very, very, very seriously, not because I expect anyone else to be serious, but I have been given love, life, opportunity, rescued from death, near-death experience, died, multiple miracles to even be alive. And that makes me grateful beyond words to God, to the Savior, and it makes me committed as much as I can do every day to love and bless and serve those. And in doing that, what I've discovered is it feels really good. In fact, our physical bodies are built so that we enjoy being in love and service, loving and serving each other. We get poor, dopamine and oxytocin and all these feel-good things when that's going on. So that loving and service is built into our natures. And I think there's spiritual neurotransmitters that mirror that because it sure feels good. So that's the Phoenix. And now I want to get to today. I named this Die Trying, Not Watching. And I think I mentioned in another episode why I love that phrase. And I'll tell the story again here. At past lives, I had a couple of timeshares in Baja, down in Cabo San Lucas. And, I went there a few times, but like most folks, I never took full advantage of them. So I've let them go now, but I had them and spent some time down there, several years. And one of the things that Cabo and other places in Mexico offer is lots of tours and deep sea fishing. And I know some friends that have done that. I never did. And another one is like sand activities, dune buggies and sand rails and tours and renting and that sort of thing. And, that's always portrayed as a high thrill, flying over dunes and all that kind of thing sport. And there's a brand of clothing down there and accessories. And the name of the brand is Die Trying. And obviously the implication is don't stand around and watch, get in the game. Get in the game. And one of my favorite t-shirts is Die Trying, Not Watching, which is why I named this episode that. And so this is an invitation for you to be a full-on participant in your own life. This is an invitation for you to go in all the way. Now, I'm not saying that's the right way to do it or that you have to, but it's an invitation for you to consider that because so often we sit and we wait for something to happen or for somebody to create value for us or opportunity or feel good. Somebody's going to take us somewhere. There's a resort that's going to provide me the ultimate experience of my life. There's a retreat that's going to reset my spirit and just give me the universe. I read a beautiful post today by someone who'd sent me a friend request. And before I accept friend requests, I always look at the profile to see who they are and what they're doing and why they might be sending a friend request. And then I decide whether or not to accept it. And this particular person told a lovely, lovely story about a many months long personal transformation. Now, this person, who I don't know, is a spiritual coach of some kind. And they described over the last 8 or 9 months, a journey that they had been on spiritually. And they were already a successful, had a successful practice and were helping people do good stuff. And then they went on a journey which involved going to several different countries. And they outlined the experiences in these different countries. And each one wasn't there for party. It was there for spiritual retreats and for growth efforts. And They summarized the powerful points of learning and change that took place at each one of those. And I enjoyed it. I read it twice, and I enjoyed the description, and I enjoyed the effort that it took to go there. And they marveled at the miracles and the things that changed in them, their perspective, what they believed, how much they surrendered, their view of their own capability and power. And yours are infinite, by the way. You have infinite power. You may or may not know it. You may not believe me, but you have the power to create from your thoughts and from your words. And I want to just emphasize this for a second. Look, I say that a lot. And so what we do is we think that I can pull out a Harry Potter wand out of my robes. It always makes me curious. I always wonder why those wands never fall out. They must have a really tight wand pocket, right? But anyway, they pull them out, even when they've been falling down and jumping around and standing on their heads. And in an instant, a green, blue, red, orange, or white flash of light, green are the bad ones, and something is instantly transformed. Most 99.99999% of transformations do not happen that way. The insight or idea that sparks the transformation might happen that way. But the actual change in real life takes some development and growth. I'm thinking of Quidditch matches where someone fell down and broke all the bones and they have to go to the hospital wing and it takes a while to regrow them. Remember the thing about regrowing bones when Gilderoy Lockhart screwed up fixing somebody's arm, Harry Potter's, I think, or somebody's. So regrowing the bones took a lot longer. Even in the magic world, growth in our spirits takes time. You don't go to the gym and suddenly go from 100 to 500 pounds. It takes development, dedication, and time. You don't go from wanting spiritual insight to being completely enlightened. It takes time. That's going from 100 to 1,000 pounds, metaphorically in some exercise regime. And we get impatient. We want everything to be download and double click. We want everything to happen yesterday, and it doesn't. And when it does, like winning the lottery, people aren't prepared, and that usually ends up in disaster also. Because, and this reason's simple. It's not a mystery. Nobody's done the work. And so understanding how to be the steward of that kind of wealth is not obvious. And so then often people make poor decisions and allow people to take advantage of them and all the rest. So if development takes time no matter what, then I want you to hear the truth. You can create whatever you want. You can choose, create a life purpose that's so exciting. You fly out of bed every day, dying to get into it. I know because that's what I do. I didn't used to. This is only the last 6 or 7 years that it's been that strong. It was developing for the years over that. And now it's so powerful that I'm excited. And that doesn't mean I don't get tired or any of that kind of stuff. But I'm just thrilled and excited about what I have to do and be. I love it. I'm grateful, and it's important and powerful. But it takes time to develop. So die trying, not watching. You're going to die. The only question is when and how and what you do before you die. You can choose to do nothing. You can choose to say, well, I don't know when it's going to be and I don't really care. And I'm going to go do everything I can possibly do to have fun because that's my goal. And you're free to do that. I haven't found that to be rewarding and I haven't found it to be very developmentally desirable. And here's why. I love fun as much as the next person, skiing and going to, places that are fun and sightseeing and that sort of thing. But I enjoy a lot more developing myself into a better person, more kind, more loving, more creative, more patient, writing more books, doing more songs, meeting more people, loving you, giving you encouragement, creating podcasts. I love that more than I love going places and sitting on beaches and visiting, countries and stuff like that. I enjoy it more. And I can't tell you for sure why, but it feels more fulfilling. I just feel more me. I feel like there's more substance. So when you get comfortable with the idea that it takes time to create anything of value, we can destroy a lot faster than we can create. A bomb can destroy a city block that it might take a year to build or 2 years. So destruction is faster than creation. Creation is certainly more valuable. A pile of rubble is less valuable than all of the buildings up and functioning with water, light, power, sewer, and all the rest. So building is what we're driven to do. We all want to grow. A baby wants to learn to stand and walk. You want to learn to run. You want to know how to do things. I was working with a client this morning who was just very interested in learning how to use some new features in Zoom, for example. And there's this natural desire we have. And then we get frustrated and there's this pushback that it takes effort and energy. So die trying, not watching is a phrase, and it appeals to me because it's an invitation. Since we know we're going to die, it's an invitation to die in the process of growth, to die in the process of becoming instead of watching and wishing. I can't tell you the number of people, because the number's too big, who have told me, I watch videos on YouTube all the time and I love them and they inspire me, and wow, it feels like this and feels like that. And a year will go by or two, and by their own description, they're not any closer to the goals they want, to the things they told me they wanted to achieve. Starting a business, growing a business, making more money, getting a promotion, losing weight, getting in shape, whatever it was, they're not really any closer. And yet they've watched these inspirational things. And the reason is they're not on the court. I have a friend, Evan Bandison, who talks about, he's a coach also, and he loves basketball. And so he talks about getting in on the court in the game, because the game is different. It's different in the stands. It's different on the bench, and completely different in the court. There's a phrase that, or one of those sayings that goes about like this. Critics row on row crowd the vast arena full, but there's only one man there who knows, and he's the man who fights the bull, referring to a bullfight. And I think I messed the quote up a little bit, but the idea is it's easy to armchair. It's easy to point out the flaws and the failing. Die trying, not watching. Get off your ass and get in the game, or be satisfied with just being a watcher. I call that an addiction to mediocrity, and there's certainly an invitation to that. We have more and more giveaways and policies where the government handles everything, and we grow this sense of entitlement, which I think is poison and the antithesis of the desires of our own heart, which is self-determination, freedom, the ability to create, self-expression, and so forth. You're called and blessed with gifts. We all are called to do good, add good to the world, and activate those good feeling neurotransmitters that happen when we do. We're called to do that. We're invited to do that. It's in our nature to do it. And yet we sit around. We make excuses. We whine, we moan, we cry, we blame. Now, I'm not pretending. We got politics going on in the U.S. I'm in Canada. We got them going on up here, too. The Liberal government up here, Trudeau, is losing steam and support, and looks like it's falling apart. It's supposed to be at a latest October 25, so a year from now, an election, and it looks like it'll be a lot sooner. And there's all kinds of jockeying and positions and people breaking and forging alliances and so forth. So a lot of political jockeying, and that's going on in the U.S. There's 50-something days to the election. As I record this, one of the debates was last night, and everybody's claiming the other side lost, spinning, and they were doing. And here's the thing. Some people in this country and that, content themselves with blaming the administration or the past administration for the woes that exist. Now, I'm not saying policies aren't bad. There are some bad policies. I'm not living in the U.S. right now. I'm in Canada, but I see the border situation of the United States and the southern border and think that's been a disaster. I don't care what side you're on. Letting millions of people into your country that you don't know who they are is stupid. If you want to have a good immigration policy and you need a lot of immigrants because of work or labor, or you want to give opportunity or whatever the reason, the United States has done that before. Ellis Island and the immigrants from Europe were famous of stuff of legend, story, song, and movies. And so maybe there needs to be a huge influx of immigrants now. I'm not even saying that. But you need to know who they are, where they came from, what their intentions are, and there needs to be a process. And just willy-nilly, that's kind of silly. And you end up with sad things happening like they document. My point is, waiting for somebody else to fix your problem in your life is a mistake. Back to trying, not watching. Back to the sense of entitlement and mediocrity and all the things we've talked about in the last few episodes. So this one, I wanted to get really specific for you. Are you all in the matter of your own life? You are at cause. You choose how you react to every lecture, every debate, every tax notice, every promotion, every job opportunity, every business you try to start, every happy customer, every sad customer, every car accident, every time somebody bumps into you, every bad thing that gets said about you, every good thing that gets said about you, every piece of praise that's heaped on you. You get to choose, and you're at cause in the matter of your own spirituality. Do you develop your intuition intentionally, or you just hope it comes and hope whatever you're thinking is the right thing? Right? Do you live in a story that the world is stacked against you and you always get the bad breaks? That's garbage. You have a share, and the only thing that matters is what you do with them, how you choose to react. The thing that happens is not good or bad. It's just neutral. Shakespeare said nothing is good or bad until we think it's so or choose it so. I'm probably quoting that wrong. I'm not a Shakespeare expert. But he said something very much like that we decide. And that may seem esoteric, but it's the power of creation. It is the literal power of creation. Your ability, my ability to choose how I interpret each event, each conversation, each sentence, each interaction, each message I get or don't get, each post I see or don't see on some social. If I look at it and say, oh, they're bragging, why are they doing that? I don't know. Or I get it, and how come they have all the breaks? Or if I see something, say, oh, that's terrible for them. I choose that reaction. And then I choose what to do about it. The idea that somebody made you mad or that something made you do anything is absolute and utter nonsense. You're abdicating your right to self-determination. Now, you're allowed to do that, but it makes for a miserable life, because I can tell you, when we feel like we have no control, it's pretty frustrating, and you get uptight really fast. You feel helpless, like a victim, and you move right into the victim corner because you believe you have no control. You see that manifest all the time. I told this story before a long time ago, but there was an incident where Joy and I were in Costco, and the lines are sometimes long, and a few people up, I saw someone just climbing down the throat of a clerk. And it got bad enough that I went up there to, intervene and say something. And it turned out to be a trivial thing. And, we ended it, intervened, and things went on. But, I was talking to Joy afterwards, and it was like, what was going on in the life of that individual that they felt the need to exercise their right to be an ass right there in the line at Costco? Well, probably it had to do with who they believed themselves to be, other stuff that was going on in their life, places where they had no power. It's a reaction to the sense of powerlessness that we have, and we often live in. Well, I want to assure you, you are powerful beyond measure. You have all the power there is. You can grow in your garden whatever you want. If you tend the flowers and grow and talk to them and love them, they grow nicely. If you tend to the garden of your life, the relationships, the business, the job, the cash, everything, it will grow and grow nicely. It will demonstrate it over and over again. And if I sit and complain and, bitch and watch TV, then nothing grows and I end up with a yard full of weeds. So your invitation here is for you to look. I am doing this on the premise, this whole show, that you want to live your version of the life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. And when I say those words, substitute your own. Freedom and joy. Someone said last night in a mastermind meeting, freedom and joy were theirs. When I feel like I don't have freedom and joy, then I'm not having a good time. Okay. And if you're not experiencing that, that's your choice. Because no matter what happens, you can ignore it. You can do something with it. You can mitigate it. You can do whatever you want with it. And as you do, you get to choose. And you do choose every single time how you're reacting to that. When we allow those choices to be default, then whatever we've trained ourselves to be, jaded, doubtful, angry, hopeful, optimistic, pessimistic, that rules the day because that's what we've trained ourselves to be. My invitation in creating your ultimate life is to go on a different training regime. Intentionally create yourself or train yourself to be grateful, to look at the bright side, to ask yourself, given what is, what do I wish to create, even if what is a pile of horse shit. Like what is, and you and I, we get to decide what to build from it. Now, I had a conversation with a client this morning whose a family member had passed away suddenly just a couple of days ago. So that client had the opportunity to be completely distraught. It's not fair. It's horrible, awful, angry at God, full of negative things. They didn't choose that. They chose to be moving forward, sad, but knowing that there is everything to create from that, choosing to trust in the divine order of things, knowing in their own heart they would see that person again, choosing to take comfort in that, choosing to deal with the preparations and funerals and grief, and choosing to do it in a positive, uplifting way. That was all by choice. The same circumstance, someone else could have chosen to be destroyed. And that's another real-time, happened today, example of this power of choice and creation. So the phrase, die trying, not watching, it's a slogan on a t-shirt, representative of an encouragement to get in the game. In that case, dune buggy and sand rail experiences in Baja. But I want you to hear it about your own life. Like, I want to die when I'm in the game, on the court, moving with a ball. Whatever that is. I want to die in action. And that doesn't mean frantic busyness. I meditate, I have peace, time. Joy and I take time together, but I'm in action, creating and loving and living the being that I want to be. So I have 3 invitations for you. Look at your life. Are you in the game fully with love? Are you busy blaming, or are you taking responsibility for your own feelings and for your own creations? You can have anything you want. My mission and only work is to help you, 250 million people, create the life exactly like you want, to recognize and then access the power that you have to create that. That's all I do. I'm an expert at it, best in the world. If you're not experiencing the life you want, let's talk. If you have a message and story of resilience, of overcoming, of action, of choosing the kinds of things that I've talked about, first being smashed and then rising like a phoenix, I want to talk. I want to share your story. I want to honor you. I want to hear who you are being now and what you've learned. So you're invited to get a hold of me. You're invited to share your story. If you're not living that way, you're invited to consider what it's costing you to abdicate control. And if you'd like help with that, let's talk. That's all I do, is help people connect with their own power and then do something with it. Purpose, prosperity, joy, full, free life. And that includes business and cash and anything else you think and believe and feel you require to do the things you want to do. We're built to love and serve. We're built to add good to the world. We're happiest when we do that. And you know the fun thing? No one can take that away from you, and no one can keep you from doing it. You're the sovereign. The last invitation is to go to this URL, www.yourultimatelife.ca, and get the free tools there that are for you to create your ultimate life. I also invite you to jump on Amazon and look at this book, Living with Purpose and Power. It will give you a step-by-step process to create your own guiding constitution so you are full of power and creative energy. I love you. I stand for you and with you to help you manifest anything you want, because it is within your possibility. No matter what has come before, no matter what you have been delayed by up to this moment, you have the ability to start today and get down the road to create your ultimate life.
Never hold back and you'll never ask why. Open your heart and this time around.
Right here, right now. Your opportunity for massive growth is right in front of you. Every episode gives you practical tips and practices that will change everything. If you want to know more, go to kellenflukigermedia.com. If you want more free tools, go here, yourultimatelife.ca. Subscribe, share.
Stand with your heart in the sky and your feet on the ground.